Right. Let's bring you in, Mark, because you've been watching what the American public are thinking about Israel.
Indeed. Good day, gentlemen. Good day, UK column listeners and viewers. The Chicago Council on Global Affairs, the former Chicago CFR, created in 1922, does a annual Lester Crown Center on U.S. Foreign Policy survey. This survey was done in coordination not only with the Chicago Council, of course, but Ipsos, a multinational marketing firm based in Paris, France. Americans grow more divided on U.S. support for Israel. And we can go through this in a relatively brief way. I'll give some preliminary information. The Lester Crown Center on U.S. Foreign Policy, they were established, that center was established in 2018 with a transformative $10 million gift from the Crown family, a Jewish family, very prominent, connected to General Dynamics, a major defense contractor. And the Lester Crown Center on U.S. Foreign Policy is driven by the belief that the public plays a critical role in determining U.S. foreign policy's direction, and that an informed and engaged public, they say, is critical for effective policymaking. And the centerpiece of the Lester Crown Center is its annual survey of American public opinion. And this one this year is on American views, the American public's views towards the support of Israel. Some preliminary information: besides imposing a total humanitarian blockade on Gaza to catastrophic effect, this is the summary in the Council's survey of American opinion, Israel launched a massive aerial assault that killed more than 400 Palestinians and injured at least 500 more. And again, keep in mind that the Chicago Council is backed by the Lester Crown Center, the Lester Crown family, and that's a Jewish family. And the Chicago Council also gets a lot of support from the Pritzker family, a major owner of Hyatt Hotels, and J.B. Pritzker is the current governor of Illinois, where the Chicago Council is obviously based. And the council's summary that goes along with his survey goes on to say that the Israeli government approved a broader military offensive, and that summary adds that most political leaders on Capitol Hill have remained steadfast in their support for the U.S.-Israeli relationship, but the American public has become much more divided in its views. And we'll get into now some of the details on this. The survey was fielded between April 18 and 20 and May the 2nd and May the 4th, a couple different time gaps there where they did the survey. And they're finding a widening gap between Democrats and Republicans on the U.S. approach to the so-called conflict in between Israel and Palestine. Americans give Israel a lukewarm rating of 50 on a 0 to 100 scale, where 100 represents the most favorable rating. This is the lowest rating Israel has ever received in Chicago Council polling dating all the way back to 1978. Moreover, more Americans now say Israel is playing a negative role in resolving the key challenges facing the Middle East. 61% of Americans surveyed are saying that now, compared to 54% just 1 year ago. So that's a bit of an uptick there. Some more basic stats, and we'll be looking at some graphs in a moment. Americans are closely divided between those who say current Israeli actions are justified, 27%, and those who say they are not, 29%. But a plurality of Americans say they are not informed enough to offer an opinion. That's the other 42%. And I would say a lot of that is from media missteps. The media just doesn't inform people correctly on this overall issue. Furthermore, slightly fewer now, 55%, compared to last year when it was 60%, say the United States should support Israel militarily until the remaining hostages taken by Hamas are returned. Nearly half of those surveyed support continuing U.S. military aid to Israel until Hamas is dismantled or destroyed, 47%, similar to 49% that said that a year ago. And I would note that totally dismantling or destroying Hamas is probably impossible because it's just a, kind of a networked, disorganized thing. It's not a mechanized army. So to just simply say you're going to weed out Hamas altogether is probably the next best thing to impossible. Anyway, we have some very interesting slides to look at. And this is feelings toward Israel, where the red line is Republican way up there. The dark blue line at the bottom is Democrat. The black line is overall, and the yellow line is independent. You'll see that the Republican red line on feelings toward Israel is way up there, and then Democrats, independents, and overall is well below that. And this drives home the basic finding here, guys, that the Republican Party is the real linchpin to the ongoing military and general foreign aid for Israel across the board, which is why AIPAC focuses so much of its lobbying on Republican representatives and why so much opprobrium rains down on people that fight back, like Thomas Massey of Kentucky, who don't want to go along with the flow. Here you see when people were asked, excuse me for just a moment, when people were asked, in your opinion, are the following countries playing a very positive, somewhat negative, or negative role in resolving the key problems facing the Middle East, you'll see that the red line is flatline from 1980 all the way till now on Republican steadfast support for Israel, again, while independents, Democrats, and overall continues to decline, somewhat gradually, but a very detectable and consistent decline in support there. It's taking a long time, yes. There was a flaw, however, in the survey where it mentioned, like I noted, the following countries, but it didn't name what those following countries were. So that's one wrinkle I found in the Chicago Council survey. This next one, we see justification of breaking the Gaza ceasefire. The top one, Israel has gone too far and its military actions aren't justified. The Republican response to that is very low. The rest of them are quite high. That's why there's a short red line. In the middle one, Israel is defending its interests and its military actions are justified. Therefore, you see in the middle one, the Republican red line is way to the right, extending well beyond the Democrats, the independents, and the overall response. I don't have enough information to have an opinion. Then things tend to even out a bit, which again is interesting, and I think is largely due to the mass media cartel, the legacy media. Now we'll move on to the next one and go through these fairly breezily. U.S. military support for Israel. Do you favor or oppose the United States doing that? Support the top two are supporting Israel militarily until the hostages are returned. Again, you see Republicans almost off the page in favor of that. That was a year ago. And the bottom one of the top two, the Republican support is almost exactly the same. In fact, it is the same, whereas the Democrat and the independents have shrunk somewhat from a year before. Now, the bottom two in this graph have to do with supporting Israel militarily until Hamas is dismantled or destroyed. Again, same old song and dance. The Republicans are way up there, almost off the chart. A year ago, the other ones were a little less than half. And now this year, the Democrats and the independents have shrunk even more compared to a year ago. And of course, viewers that watch this show, once it's archived, can freeze these frames and look at these. And there'll be a link to the overall Chicago survey in the show notes. And moving on, diplomatic and humanitarian support for the Palestinians. The top two, the top one is 2024, where the Republican response to that was quite low, supporting the Palestinians, the reconstruction of Gaza, whereas overall and Democrats and independents were markedly high, especially the Democrats. That's why there's the long blue line there. And the bottom one of the top two is this year, 2025. The support for Palestinians is about the same, roughly, for everyone but the Republicans. Although in 2025, the diplomatic and humanitarian support for Palestinians has went up somewhat for the Republicans. And then in the bottom two, officially recognizing a Palestinian state, the bottom two in that same one, the Republicans were 33% against that in 2024, and they're even more opposed to it now. Whereas, again, the support among anyone other than Republicans has remained quite strong for officially recognizing Palestine. Again, that has shrunk among Republicans from last year, but it has stayed the same or grown for all the other parties that were questioned. And there's a couple more. I won't take a lot of time with this. The U.S. side in the Middle East. In the Middle East conflict, do you think the U.S. should take Israel's side, take the Palestinian side, or take neither side? You've got not taking either side is apparently the top one of those surveyed. Taking the Palestinian side is, I believe, the bottom one. And then the one in the middle is not taking either side. So some of the color coding is a little confusing on that. At any rate, that's basically the sum and substance of it, guys. It's a fairly complex survey, but overall, what it boils down to is the Republican Party is the mainstay in keeping this support going. And it shows the consequences, in my opinion, of not allowing more independents to get on ballots, to be elected to public office. And that's a major reason why the two dominant parties have went to such lengths to control ballot access and to keep people with more independent opinions out of public office, and to keep the Republicans in command of the so-called conservative culture. And that has had some good consequences on domestic issues. But when it comes to this, it's been the real cement keeping everything together, keeping everything in place for supporting the state of Israel at all costs. So back to you guys on this.
Thank you very much for that report. Fascinating to see these statistics. And this is really something to help people think about public opinion, real public opinion about events taking place in the world. Just need to correct you on the last slide, if we can pop that one up on screen. So the top line from 2002 to 2025, which is light blue, that is support for taking the Palestinian side, up at 58. The darker blue line below it, which is taking Israel's side, is pegged at 28. So 58 for Palestine, 28 for Israel. And then the light green, which is the bottom, which is not taking either side, which is a view many people you would have thought would take, that is 12. So I just needed to correct you on that. But thank you very much for that excellent analysis of how public opinion is changing there in the States. Now, we must move on. I just want to say to viewers and listeners that UK Column can only do what it does with the support of our viewers and listeners. It's your financial support that keeps the UK Column going. And we do what we do largely through membership and donations and some generous supporters. But it's very, very important that if you like what we do, please do get on board, become a member and support us. Our objective is to grow, and we can only do that with financial support. Now, a lot's been happening. A lot is happening in UK where people are coming together to try and help one another out and to talk about what's going on, but also to take the pressure off by having it in a very convivial circumstance. Camping music is often possible. So this bank holiday, so taking place as we speak, we've got the event, which is Stand in the Light up in Workington in Cumbria. Now, unfortunately, the UK Column team weren't able to go to that, but huge support for all the excellent work that the Light newspaper team are doing. And I'm sure people are having a good time there, particularly if the weather's being kind. Now, we've also got the Sounds Beautiful event coming up June the 26th to the 29th. That's in Wimborne, Dorset. And I think I'm right in saying that the UK column, has 2 free tickets for that. And I'm going to say, starting now, that's on a first come, first served basis. So if you're interested, get in touch with the UK column. We've also got another style event, Thetford Truth and Freedom Beer Festival. Get together to socialise and to talk about what's happening in the world. That's Friday the 18th to the 19th of July at the Angel Inn, Swallow Lane, Larling, NR16 2QU. And we've also got Freedom Music. That's the 22nd to the 25th of August 2025. That's a bank holiday weekend, and the UK column team will see you there. Now, we just want to give you a reminder that a couple of things that have gone out and are now up on the UK column website. I did an interview yesterday, part 3, with Carl Schwartz. Carl has been very, very interesting in his analysis on 9/11. He's not well known, but he's done a huge amount of work with many other very interesting people, and he's really picked apart items and areas that other people haven't tackled. So quietly spoken, but this is worth watching. But you must see part 1 and part 2. And then I'm also going to say tonight at 7 o'clock, Germ Warfare will be having some friendly banter with Mike Robinson and Charles Malet from UK column. And we're doing our very best to get some different dynamics into the type of presentation, different viewpoints, different styles. So this won't be for everybody, but we hope that this is something that's going to lift spirits at least and give you a deeper look into the UK column itself. Where do we go from